The recording? Okay, so this is the analysis of the final two chapters of All Quiet on the Western Front. Alright, so number one, after reading the final chapter, why do you think the novel was written from the point of view of a young German soldier? Well, first off, I think it was taken from the point of view of a young soldier rather than like a middle-aged or an older man, well, middle-aged man. Just because, like it said in the beginning of the book, I forgot exactly which chapter, but they weren't older. They were just starting out in life. You know, they were really young. They didn't have much to go back to. So, for a middle-aged man, he might have a family to come home to and things to do once he returns home from the war. But these guys were just starting out, and I think it was from the point of view of a German soldier because they lost. So near the end, it would become more dramatic, I guess, than if it were from a soldier fighting for a country that won. So number two, if I could change anything about the ending, I don't know. I think it ended pretty well. Paul was pretty much broken but determined to go on. And then I guess somebody else wrote the final paragraph. Or I don't know if this is based on a true story or something like that. I don't know. But it said that Paul ended up dying. And honestly, seeing that a young man was pretty much broken down into nothingness, emotionless basically, and then he ended up dying, I think that perfectly summarizes the harsh reality of war and humans as it is. You know, we kill each other and things don't always work out, especially in a global conflict. So I think it actually ended pretty well. I don't think I'd change much of anything. I'm trying to think, but I've done thinking about it, and I don't really know. So after reading, what do I consider to be the most impactful? Probably when the guy who got his leg amputated died. I think that was pretty much the first close friend or close soldier that Paul lost in the war, if I remember correctly. So I think that was kind of the very first death, so Paul wasn't as used to seeing people die. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. So yeah, pretty much that guy at the beginning who got his leg amputated dying. At that point, Paul wasn't so used to seeing his close soldiers or friends die, so I think that kind of nailed in the harsh reality of war and what was actually happening into his head more than anything that happened later on. So describe him at the beginning and then at the end. So yeah, at the beginning he was pretty much afraid. He was upset to be in the war he was just not enjoying it there. And at the end, he kind of felt the same way, except any hope or any positivity that was in him had just been drained out. He didn't really care about much of anything. He was just completely emotionless, and this was probably most likely caused by the fact that he had witnessed some of his closest friends and soldiers die. He had just witnessed so many harsh things. So many battles have been described in detail from his point of view. He just witnessed a lot, and knowing that his country was going to lose the war, so it was all for nothing, and that it was just going to keep going on pointlessly, that kind of probably changed him. And so if I could come up with a title for 11 or 12, what would it be and why? I guess I call number 12 Peace at Last, because it says that peace is coming, the war is coming to an end, and Paul was killed, but he didn't suffer or anything, and it said that his body looked almost glad to be at rest finally. So I guess 12 could be Peace at Last, and for chapter 11, so the best thing I can come up with for chapter 11 is One More to Go or something like that. So something similar to what it already is. The chapters were named perfectly, but One More to Go or something like that, or I don't know. last friend or something like that, last man down. Just, just because the last guy who had been with him since the beginning, the last guy that had been with Paul since the beginning, Cat, was killed, and he didn't have anybody left. So that's it.